So today we're going to look at using IMC to check the credentials that it is using on your devices. So why do we need to do this? Well, SNMP it's just not enough, to be honest. It's great. It's a protocol. It gives us a lot of things, but it doesn't give us everything. And for a lot of functions that we have to do, ACL management, for instance, is one of them. We're going to need CLI access to the devices. So we want to make sure that our CLI credentials are accurate and working. And there's a way to do that en masse. So let's take a look. So here we are on the IMC homepage here. And recently we just discovered an entire WAN, right? So we're going to go look at that WAN and see those devices. So we've got a whole bunch of devices in here that we have successfully discovered using SNMP. Now, what does that tell us about whether or not we've got CLI access to these devices? Absolutely nothing. So we're going to go check that now. We're going to use the batch operation check device function. So for those of you who haven't seen batch operations before, we've got NMS parameters. So these are the parameters that IMC is going to use against the devices. So those are IMC things. We've got the check device access settings, which we're going to use, and then the device configuration, which will allow us to do other things that we'll look at later. So in this particular environment, I know SSH is not configured, so I'm going to disable that. And then I'm going to go down here and use the query engine just to show you guys a different way. And then look at the location and type in just the word WAN here. So this is the same keyword that I used to dynamically generate those custom views and custom groups earlier. So put in the word WAN and automatically it will go out and check the syslocation of those devices and allow me to select them. I could have also done this by view, so I could use custom view, for instance, and go and just look at the WAN. And in this case, that extra 5500 is in there, which I already know works, and I don't want to test today. So let's just look at these particular devices. We click OK. There we go. And now we can go and click OK, and this will cause IMC to immediately go out and check the credentials for those particular devices. This is going to take, depending on how many devices you're trying to check, this could take a little while, right? This could be very fast on one device, or it could take a minute or two, or if you're checking thousands of devices, it may take quite a bit longer. You can do all that using the tool, though. So we're just going to wait for this to finish. We're going to go up to the top and click on the refresh button, and we're going to see what happened. So partially successful. So details. So let's look at this. SNMP is consistent and Telnet is consistent. We had a little bit of a problem here, but that's not unheard of. Accessing the device. We just discovered this network, so for sure there are things wrong. So we're going to have to go clean that later. But let's take a look right now. So you may think that that is actually a good thing, that everything is consistent, but sometimes these rules will actually lie to you a little bit. They will do exactly what you tell them to do and nothing more. So the default would be to use password with no operator, but those were all, if you noticed, Cisco devices. So it's a range of Cisco 1841s, maybe some 2800, 2600, 3560 switches, and Cisco requires you to use an enable password as well. So although we were able to log in using the normal password, we don't have enable access currently. So we're going to use the batch operation here to set the telnet. And we're going to type in the password, our super secret password, which is password right now. And we'll look at changing that in a future video. And now we're going to recheck all those credentials to make sure that we don't have just telnet initial access, but full access all the way to the enable prompt, in which case we'll be able to do conft as well. Again, we will deselect the SSH here and click OK. And we're now going to check that. This is going to take a little bit of time. You can see the start time is run. And we'll give this a couple seconds. We're going to click refresh here, and keep in mind also that depending on what the distance is between you and your device, this may take longer as well. That could also affect things. So let's take a look at the details here. Look at that, all consistent. So we now have access to the complete CLI as well as SNMP for these devices. And now we're set up to do some more interesting things, which we'll look at in future videos. See you guys next time on the next IMC management tutorial.